So when we're multiplying polynomials that have more than two terms, we cannot use FOIL anymore. So for all of the examples today, we are not allowed to use the FOIL method. And that's because the examples that I'm giving you in multiplying a binomial by a trinomial, we have two trinomials, right? So there's three terms there, more than two. Same thing down here, but now we're multiplying a trinomial by a trinomial. They both polynomials have more than two terms in these examples. So once you have more than two terms, cannot use FOIL, you must use the area or the distribution method. So I'm going to show you an example of each. Let's start with multiplying a binomial by a binomial. So we're going to use the area method here. But that means your boxes are just going to have to be a little larger. So I'm going to draw mine like, that was a bad box. I'm going to draw mine like this. I'm going to split it in half this way because on the left side, I'm going to start with z to the 4 plus 3z cubed. Okay, and then going across, I'm going to make sure there's room for three boxes, because on top, I'm going to put the second polynomial. So that's going to be 6z cubed minus 4z squared plus 4z. And if you wanted to, you could have drawn a box this way. That would have just changed where your polynomials go. So I'm choosing this way. So now we're going to multiply just like we did with the area method, but you're going to do z to the 4th times 6z cubed. And remember, for the z to the 4th, there's no coefficient here, so we can put an imaginary coefficient of 1. So 1 times 6 is 6, and z to the 4th times z to the 3rd. Remember, again, when you're multiplying with exponents, you add them. So 4 plus 3 is 7. So you get 6z to the 7th. Right, to the right, z to the 4th times negative 4z squared. Again, with the imaginary coefficient, 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. And z to the 4th times z squared, well, 4 plus 2 is 6. Again, to the right, z to the 4th times 4z. Imaginary coefficient for the z to the 4th, 1 times 4 is 4. And z to the 4th times z. We can give this z an imaginary exponent as well, so that's z to the 1st, and 4 plus 1 is 5. Okay, now let's move on to the second term of the binomial. So we got 3z cubed times 6z cubed. 3 times 6 is 18, and 3 plus 3 is 6, so z to the 6th. 3z cubed times negative 4z squared. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12, and 3 plus 2 is 5. 3z cubed times 4z. 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 plus an imaginary 1 is z to the 4th. Okay, so now these are all of the terms that you're going to be adding. And at this point, just to save myself some time, I like to already start to combine like terms. Remember, you combine like terms when they have the same variable and the same exponent. So in this case, that's going to be negative 4z to the 6th and 8z to the 6th. And if you're having trouble, please use a calculator. You can, Google one, or you could use one on your phone. I have my graphing calculator right here, as you guys have seen before. So let's combine 18 and -4. So you can either do plus -4. Remember, plus and negative is the same as just minus. So either way, for that term, we're going to get 14. So we get 14z to the 6th. Now do the same thing with the other term. So we got -12. We have a +4. So we get -8. So that's these two terms that are also like terms. And what did I say? We got -8, -8z now to the 5th. Now these both stay the same. We don't combine them with any terms because they have no like terms. So that's 6z, that's 12z. Don't forget your exponents. This was plus because we got a +14 for the last one, and that 12 is positive, so that stays plus. So this should be your final polynomial. And that's the area method. We could do the same thing, and we will, with the distribution method again. So I'm going to do the first one in blue and the second one in green. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is split up the terms of the first polynomial. So let's start with z to the 4th. And we're going to multiply that by 6z cubed minus 4z squared plus 4z. I'm going to actually have to rewrite that because I was writing a little big. Let me zoom in. Z to the 4th times 6z cubed minus 4z squared plus 4z. All right, and now I'm going to do plus because there's a plus sign here. Plus 3z cubed times 6z cubed minus 4z squared plus 4z. All right, and that's really, really important. These polynomials need to be exactly the same. I did see some people doing questions like this last week where they changed the polynomial that I have highlighted here. It has to be the exact same one. So be careful with that, please. And now you're going to distribute. So z to the 4th times z cubed. Again, there's an imaginary coefficient here. So 1 times 6 is 6. And then 4 plus 3 is 7. 1 times -4 is -4. And 4 plus 2 is 6. 1 times 4, sorry, I forgot the z. 1 times 4 is 4. And then 4 plus 1 is 5. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 plus 3 is 6. 3 times -4, we're going to get -12. So I'm just going to put -12. 3 plus 2 is 5. And 3 times 4 is +12. And then 3 plus 1 is 4. And we're going to have to combine like terms like we did before. So we got -4z to the 6th and 18z to the 6th. Again, -4 plus 18, we're going to get 14, +14. We got 4z to the 5th and -12z to the 5th. and we're going to get negative 8z to the 5th, and keep the other two the same, 6z to the 7th, and positive 12z. Now that should be the same that we got over here, and it is. Okay, so that is multiplying a binomial by a trinomial.